Incremental games are fascinating because whether I like them or not, if they're well designed, they can be addictive due to the fact that you do something very simple and easy, get a little bit of a reward, upgrade your system, and then do a little bit of the thing that you did before slightly better and get slightly further. And you're like, give me more, give me more. Deep Space Cache is the latest one that I've come across. It's for 89p on Steam, so super cheap as chips, and it is a shooter that reminds me a little bit of Bit Blaster XL, if anyone remembers that. There's no enemies to speak of, but there are an awful lot of asteroids for you to mine resources from, and so upgrading your ship to be able to cope with more, and then upgrading your overall system to allow different types of asteroids to enter the field belt that you're trying to shoot and mine the resources from, is the name of the game. You do this at the very beginning by just having a very tiny little ship that can barely shoot out a single missile, and it all looks and feels a little bit sad and impotent. But once you get up and running, getting a few of your first parts of the asteroid resources collected, what that does is it brings you into one of two systems. You've got generators and augments. Generators are things that you'll spend your initial currency that you harvest from these asteroids to set up and run a generator that every 60 seconds will create a new type of currency that you can then spend augmenting and upgrading your ship. This is where Deep Space Cache's feedback loop comes into play, because the more you actively mine, the more you'll spend on your generators, which means that they'll generate faster than 60 seconds, but also generate more of the currency depending on which of the two things that you upgrade on that generator. And then that will generate more of the augmenting currency that you can then spend making your ship fly faster, shoot more, stay in the air longer because it's got a depleting health bar that goes at an exponentially faster rate. So therefore you get to stay shooting and mining for longer before you have to go back to base. And obviously the better your ship is, the more that you'll harvest, and therefore it'll exponentially get better and better. What you'll then notice is that there are several different generators that can be unlocked, and once you save up a certain amount of initial currency from the first generator you mine, you can then spend that to unlock a second generator, which adds in a new colour of asteroid to mine, which gives you a new currency, which again then exponentially adds on and speeds up the amount of currency you can then spend on augmenting and improving your ship, and so the cycle of life continues on. It's very short and succinct for an incremental game, but it didn't outstay its welcome, because as you get more and more asteroids coming into play, you will find that your ship is not able to shoot and clear as many of these asteroids as quickly as possible. And so what you're doing is adding on secondary weapons, improving the damage and firepower of it, improving the health and how long you can stay in, and just slowly, incrementally increasing your augments. And the game comes to an end when you complete the entire augmentation tree. It took me around 3.5 hours to get to the end of that, and for 89p and some relatively simple and rewarding shoot 'em up style action, it weren't too bad. Is this going to change the world? Absolutely no. But it's also under half the price of, say, Node Blaster, for example, which doesn't do anything massively different compared to what this does. And so from a price point perspective and value for money perspective, Deep Space Cache actually has it. So if you're interested in casual shooters that give you an incremental system to keep on ploughing into to get to the end of the game, but you don't want it to drag on forever and outstay its welcome, I'd recommend Deep Space Cache. Cheap as chips, fun to play.